What's up, everybody? Welcome to Beans and Beats. You might notice a different setup. We're trying a couple new things on trying to kind of restructure what we're doing here with the live, with Beans and Beats, and just all around, just trying to resource Christian creatives more. And so I brought in my buddy Drew today to hang out. We also have Dan in the back running production and helping us out, just to make this a little bit smoother. But the kind of vision behind Beans and Beats is just kind of creative office hours, just to give you an idea.
Oh, okay.
So the people that tune in live, they can ask questions. Dan will kind of be watching the comments and pulling up any questions or asking us those, as well as just like talking about like what we're working on, sharing notes and tips, and then also making some music together. And we'll see where the beats take us. Sometimes it gets into moments where we talk about actual like song structure and organization of making music, but sometimes it is just hanging out and having fun too. So,
for sure.
Why don't, for those that don't know you, give us a little background of who Drew Wilson is and what you've been working on and what you do.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. My name is Drew Wilson, and I'm a creative, like most, I assume, is watching. Mostly in design, but I also play on the worship team. I teach drums a lot, specifically marching percussion, but play the drum set for our church. And right now I'm full-time employed at a company called Kittle, which is a design tool, so very fitting.
Yep.
But I actually do all production, so all video. It's just video all day long. Like, that's, if anybody wants to know like what's Drew about, it's just YouTube, dude.
Yeah, so this is really familiar to you.
Oh yeah, I mean, we literally had a rehearsal for a live today that we're doing tomorrow.
Really?
Like right before I came over here.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like we do this.
So you just ran that rehearsal. Let's get into it then. Tell me about that. What's that like?
The rehearsal?
Because we were setting up for this live, right? Like
Okay.
we're trying to do things differently, and creatives that are watching, like maybe live streaming is a strategy for YouTube.
Okay.
Now.
Well, yeah, of course, of course.
But tell us how that went with the live stream, I guess, run through. Like, how do you guys do that?
Yeah.
Who runs that?
Yeah, well, we use a program called StreamYard.
Okay.
There's a bunch, but I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
And so with this live specifically, our community manager is running it. So she actually puts together the presentation, if you will. So she asked in advance, this is what I want to do for this live.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of us that are on the creatives, like my brother Graham, Eduarda, our social media manager, Marie, our blog writer, like she gave us all stuff like, hey, can you send me 1 or 2 things that you really liked from this year?
Yeah.
Something that has nothing to do with Kittle you just like a lot.
Yeah,
so anyway, we all compiled that, gave it to her, and then she put together the presentation to basically run through all the way. So then when we join this, when you set up the stream, like for tomorrow, it already exists. So we can go into the stage and practice it. So we just all went into the stage, added everybody to it. She brought up the presentation, and then she can just say, this is what I'm thinking for intro. Next slide, this is how we're going to do this. Boop, boop, boop. Drew's, here's where you're going to talk about what you think. And then,
so she's kind of running point on all of this
for this,
while you're doing like a run through.
Yep, we've done lives in the past where if it's something more designy, then I will say this is the agenda for this day, and it's usually pretty casual. Like lives, I don't think need to be excessively overproduced, because if you're going to have a live chat, you have to be ready to just like answer a question or change. Like there's only so like produced you want to be. Like that's what static videos are for. Like those are for your high production. Lives just like, I don't know what we're doing, but like we got on a live one time and I was like, I don't even know what we're doing.
So you guys don't take a super structured approach to your lives?
No, she actually said don't say anything now, because she had some like hot take questions at the end. She's like, I know you've seen these now, but don't say anything now. So that's actually interesting. I'm excited to get into those tomorrow because they are. I was just like, ooh. And then one of my friends was like, I'm going to have to make bullet points, otherwise I'm going to go off on like this one, like myths
like
of
a
the
rant.
Design world.
Sometimes that's good though. Like a good rant, like everybody just enjoys watching a good rant, I think. So that's tomorrow?
Yep, 12 p.m. Eastern time on the Kittle YouTube channel. You can go and already sign up for it.
Yeah, go check that out.
It'll be cool. It'll be a lot of like what we've done throughout this year, stuff like partnerships we did with Monotypes. We got a lot of amazing fonts.
Yeah.
It'll be also just like things that we're sharing. Like I'm sharing some like product brands that I like not a graphic design like, oh, this poster I really like. It's like this brand, this company, their website and structure is amazing. What can we take away from this that might influence
because I think that's one thing too that like a lot of creatives don't take into account of how much design actually goes into almost everything that you do now. Like, and whether you're making content or making like, even like church graphics, you know, if you're serving in a creative ministry, that sort of thing, like design is in every aspect. And so I think Kittle is like a great tool for those. Like when I first got started in designing and like in like creative work outside of just music, I used a different tool that will remain unnamed.
Adobe tools?
No, it was Canva.
Oh,
yeah,
that's fine.
Before I got into the Kittle zone,
I got you into the Kittle.
You got me into
I should have said. I don't know if I
ecosystem.
said that Kittle is a design tool.
Yeah,
for
it's a design tool.
Yeah.
But I think those are super helpful to non-designers to just get started. But also, you guys do a bunch of resourcing and stuff. And approach. Drew didn't mention is that he also has a book on creatives in the church and goes through different design concepts and a bunch of different topics as far as how creatives should integrate into the church and how the church should help and partner with creatives. And so I'd love to hear, just give us a quick pitch for the book for those that,
Yeah, it's called Creativity in the Church, and then it has a really long subtitle on Amazon that I won't care to bore you with right now. But if you type in Creativity in the Church, it's like my book comes up and then the other one from McLean or whatever. But I wrote it because there's not a lot of books on this topic. There's a few, like Fujimura's book is really good, but outside of that, there's like 1 or 2 other ones that are specific to art. And I mean, you have Schaefer's Art in the Bible book, which is great, but it's short.
Yeah.
So anyway, I saw a need to write about why creativity, both like artistically and design oriented and other stuff. I mean, even the way the chairs are set up here, you know, they look nice for design purpose. So I wrote it because I've seen at least a lot on the East Coast, just like a negligence of this design category, especially in the church. And it's frustrating because when you go to a place like in Italy and you see like the Vatican or whatever, and you're like, where is this? That's what actually fueled me writing the book. And so I go through issues. The first like kind of 2 chapters or so talk about issues that I see, like stagnant churches, copycat churches, toxic churches even. What is a mega church? What does that mean?
Yeah.
And then into chapter 2, I look at a ton of scripture reference that suggests why God loves art and creativity. And instances in the Bible where he even said, like, make this for no other purpose but to be beautiful. And then we get into the middle of the book, which is like, for those of you that maybe are struggling or don't know what this is, like, this is basic Keller theory. This is typography. This is like how we would adapt them to pre-service slides, a poster, a social media
So
post.
would you say then it kind of shifts more to like the design?
It shifts more into
visual.
practical. So the beginning is very much like for church staff, pastors, some people that are perhaps not on board or just not educated. That's probably the biggest problem that I talk about in the book, is that they just don't understand why it's important. And it's like, that's fine. They have their sermons to write and that's cool. But it's like it transfers from like the theoretical to the practical. And then the last part of the book is more of this encouragement and more of this, how do we champion design? How do we influence each other? What does it mean for the congregation if we elevate our design? Like, are they going to get fed? Like, is it just to attract people from outside the church to come into the church? Like, we have to do both, you know? So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as you're like walking people through that, what do you feel like is the most, you said you wrote it because you went on a trip to Italy, right?
Italy.
And you got to Italy, kind of saw all the art in the church and how that was mixed together, was inspired to kind of bring that back. And the 2 parts of the book, which one would you say is the one that like is the one that's most heavy on your heart, like right now? Like, obviously, like both matter, like as far as like I'll break it up into my category, the craft and character, right? Like you have the character side of like the why we care about art, that sort of thing, and then you have the craft side, like the design thing. Where do you feel like, whether in your specific context or as you talk to like creatives through Kittle and stuff like that, like do you feel like there's one side or the other that the church is really excelling at right now or deficient in, like the craft or character side? And reframe the question if that's helpful.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's like, it's kind of like, well, you could say they excel in like the preaching of the word. You know? Well,
I even think like, you know, I don't think churches lack, like even if we think about like larger churches and like mega churches, they're not lacking in necessarily like appeal and relevance and like what seemed to be trend.
Right.
You know, so like maybe help me understand from a creative perspective, or like maybe if you approach this like the difference between like a church being just trendy and like actually embracing creativity.
Yeah, I mean that's probably like the biggest 2 issues. So I would say the most deficient in is like the churches that are doing nothing. Or the bare minimum. Right. And like sometimes the bare minimum is worse than if you had just done nothing. Right. So like we don't ever want like I'll give an example for the church that's kind of, I just call it the stagnant church. And then one for mega church. But like if you think about worship, we don't want the worship to be distracting. So this is why like song selection and all that stuff, that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm actually talking about skill. So like at what point do we allow volunteers to be on our worship team because we know they love singing or playing, yet perhaps they're just not like super skilled? At what point does it like move outside of like helping the congregation worship and being distracting? I know this is like perhaps a hot take or something, but like the same goes to like design. So like a sermon series graphic, a pre-service slide, a social media post, a video. At what point is it it's doing its job well because it's aesthetically pleasing? And at what point is it really not orchestrated well in whatever definitions of design you want, and therefore it's distracting? Like, am I thinking about the sermon slide that I saw because it sucked the whole time that I'm listening to the sermon, or did I look at it and it piqued my interest and I said, why is it this color? Why is this head split from the body? Like, why? You know what I mean? It's like, what point does it become distracting or actually beneficial and helpful? So on the one side of the church ecosystem, which I would say is a lot of the East, they're just like doing nothing. And it's probably just because they don't like see the value in it. And I've always heard it as like it's not that you can't afford to do it, because that's another argument, is I don't have any money to invest in this. It's like you can't afford not to do it, actually. So I would say they're deficient in just doing anything.
Yeah.
And then on the mega church side, I have heard, because I did interview about 19 people for this book.
Yeah.
Hour, 2 hour long, just asking to them. And several of them were creative directors at big churches that I won't name because I'm not trying to point. But like some big ones that you all would probably know. And they're like, yeah, like the amount of meetings that we have, that's like, they're like, just do what this church is doing. Like, just, like they show them a thing and it's just like, just do what this church is doing.
It's just replication.
Replication.
So much.
And it's fine to have references. And we talk a little bit about that in the book. And I talk about having taste, and I talk about taking a multiplicity of references and like, how do you turn it into something? It's just so many people struggle with this.
Yeah.
Like copying versus like trying to create something new, and it's like you're not really trying to create something new, so I want everybody to like take that burden off themselves. You're just showing me something old in a new way. That's the best principle I think for design that you can continually take, is like, or with music. Like you're not making, well, maybe you are making new chords, that'd be awesome, but like you're orchestrating them, like in a way maybe you've heard before, but now it's got this sound, and it's the same.
Yeah, I mean, we're all working from the same thing, even as like, creatives from even a like just theological standpoint, right? Creative ex nihilo, like God is the only one who creates out of nothing. Like we are all always just reshaping, and so that should, like, it's not copying, but there has to be some sort of intention to remake and reframe your work, rather than just like a replication that we see might happen in churches or content or whatever.
And I even talk about that. It's like we have these qualities and characteristics from God. And creativity is one of them. So it's 100%. Like every new sentence that we start saying is like we're creating it out of nothing, but like it is another creation. So that's what I say to people when they say like, "Oh, I wish I was a creative person." I'm like, "Well, you're talking to me." So you're able to put sentences together.
No, I think you're right, and I think you hit on something too when you talk about like that balance of like professionalism and like quality. Especially like in the worship context that I operate in, right? Like, and like even volunteers being ready or not being ready and that sort of thing. Obviously, I think it's a line you have to tote well, but I think it really boils down to even like a fundamental thing that you hit on when you said like people just don't know. Like it's a developmental issue, like, and it's an educational thing. So like, how would you advise like maybe somebody getting started in their church with this conversation? Like maybe they don't have like a creative ministry at their church, or they're like at a church plant and there's not like a ton of like creative vibrance, right? We're not like rocking.
That's what I talk about.
So tell me like.
Well, outside of just pitching my book and saying go buy it, which is fine. The reason I pitch it that way is so that the book can be the bad guy. Like let me be the bad guy for you. So like if it's I talk about all these issues, we don't have enough money. That won't necessarily be a good return on investment, you know, because most churches like kind of have a board, sort of. You know what I mean? They kind of function as if they have taxes to
like
pay,
a deacon board, elders,
all this stuff. So it's like I am like let my book be the bad guy. Like read it, take it to them, and say like, what do you think about this? But outside of that, like you don't have to buy the book, but like outside of that, you can just say like, what would it look like if we did X or Y? And just try to get the people on board, whether it's like, I don't think most small churches probably even have a communications director. So really it's on the volunteers, which is another topic I talk about a little bit, is like how do you grow a volunteer program? It's just for someone to take the initiative and not pitch it as having any money behind it. It's just like, I have this vision for something that I think could be really cool. Maybe it's something as simple as a poster. Maybe it's something as simple as art, like collage on a canvas or something, and you take it and you say like, here's why I think this would be good for us to display somewhere. Let's see what happens. You know, let's experiment. Let's put it as a trial. And I would say as long as like the pastor or the eldership is on board, and I don't know why they wouldn't be if they didn't do any work for it. Then it starts the conversation, right? You know what I mean? Like, it starts like, ooh, we should, because all it takes is some members to be like, we should have more of that. That's all. Congregation is for that, I think.
Well, I think, and just the more you can kind of try to integrate your creative life into serving your church and like loving people well, and actually like putting faces and stories to names. Like I say this a lot, but like that idea is going to help you even bring that to your church leadership and be like, hey, like we're going through this sermon series, or like the Lord's been teaching me this, and so I made this thing to help us communicate that better.
Yeah, not just
like that just gives you
it's
rather
not
than
like
just like
we
here's
should
my
do this. Yeah, it's not just like we're not doing this, we should do it. I mean, there has to be like purpose behind it.
or even like here's my thing, can you help me promote it? Like that could be a you want to.
I guess that's like perhaps another part of the like mega church
Yeah.
type thing. That's why certain rules, like one of the big churches here that you know of that I'm not going to name, like you're not allowed to wear certain things on stage when you worship, or you're not allowed to, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to like they're not allowed to actually promote things. But I could see how that could also be for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Well, even I think it just helps you like approach the communication of like your heart behind what you're actually trying to do, if that's true, which is like
what should lead you to have created it in the first place.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
So I didn't start with like, I mean, well, we kind of do this with sermon series graphics, but we have a floor plan for how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like we get delivered the message with the title and the like not the transcript, but like the passages.
Yeah.
But it's not just like I'm starting with like this would be cool because I think it attaches to this message. It's more of like I've been listening to this, I've been reading this. It has now influenced. I mean, hopefully the Spirit moves
100%.
to influence that artistic work, whatever it is. And then if you deliver it that way humbly, there's just like 0% chance that they would be like, no, we don't. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, and I think that even just like you said, like the way you start it, and we can kind of talk about that, like starting projects and that sort of thing, because we've been talking about that in our Flock community, which if you don't know about, Flock is a community of creators and artists that I'm working with to really just help move their projects forward, as well as grow their ministry or their audience, and really ultimately grow in their craft and character. And so there should be like a little lower third here, because Dan is killing it on the production side. A little craft and character, a little Flock QR code thing that you can scan and learn more information about it. We're actually running a thing right now called the Founder Creator Games, which if you participate and engage and actually share your tools and tips with the community, and are open with them, I want to give back to that and actually give you my time as well. And so I'm going to work on a project with you one-on-one, however you want to do it. And so
like any project?
Any project at all.
Like music or otherwise?
Music or otherwise. If you want to plan a 90-day promotional plan for your next record, we can hop on a call and plan it all. Or if you just want to produce some songs, there's some options there for that too. But it's all based around
it's like a mini mastermind.
100%. Yeah. And it's all based around like how much you're actually giving as well to the community, because I think a lot of times when as creatives we can get into a community or like spaces and we just want to like get in and take, and so this is specifically designed to just be a community where we can come together, seek the same goal of creating to bring glory to the Creator, and share tools. So
that's dope.
That's that. So check that out. But I want to kind of talk about starting projects, and maybe even we'll take that and kind of transition into maybe some beat making. But one thing we've talked about in that community that you mentioned was starting from a place and even like taking maybe the scripture or theme, kind of digesting that a little bit and allowing that to overflow into your work and finding bits and pieces to point out. So like, how do you approach that when so you said you were working on a sermon series
for
right
like
now.
A design?
Yeah, let's take it from we'll take it from your discipline and then we'll go to mine and we'll maybe see if we can compare and contrast like approaches. But when you're approaching a, like we'll say the sermon series that you're doing, like what's your starting point for that?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be maybe a little bit different if you're working with people versus working alone. I'm working with people at the current moment, so there's more, I guess, voices involved. But I think this is probably the biggest struggle is like starting from like blank canvas, zero notepad, nothing. So I'm a big, I think, list guy, or I've turned into one. Like we were talking yesterday, I think you were like, how do you start the YouTube thing? I'm just like, dude, it's just a script. It's not even titles. It's just like, these could be videos. So with the sermon series graphic, because it's directly related to scripture in this one that we're working on right now, which is on Samuel, the first thing I did before designing anything was just list like themes and symbols. So like theme of sacrifice or whatever, and then all the symbols. Because I know now I have this list that I can then take, and now I can go look at references that might use a dove or a vase or a lion or whatever. And so I'm just starting with the list, and then now I have something on the paper. Like I have something. It's just words, but now I have something. So like you feel pretty good because you've done something.
Yeah.
So I start with that, and then you get to do probably the funnest part, which is just look at tons of designs, whether it's Pinterest or Behance
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Just like mood board kind of.
Yeah, and you just copying and pasting over stuff that's like similar. I wouldn't try to do something that's like, this has this kind of 90s nostalgic look, and then this has this like futuristic techno gradient look. You're gonna have trouble, I think, finishing that project. But like, I'll move board along with these other people.
Yeah.
I'll say, let's all put 3 or 4 things that we really like in this style.
Yep.
And we look at all that together. And so now we've got the list. And even if it's stuff that's not, the references don't have the list, because like, it could be not a Samuel sermon graphic, but it's something that looked cool. It's not even like, most of our references I don't even think are sermon graphics. Like they're just like, I just typed
visual
in the keyword
elements.
like surreal or whatever. And it's just like, ooh, I like how this person's head's been changed with a crown or whatever. And then you just look at it all together and you look at the commonalities. And then you can kind of start like a designing layout type of thing, you know?
Yeah. No, I think that's kind of similar. Do you guys, like when you're doing that, I know when I was working more with design stuff, like I had the same exact approach, but sometimes I would have like banks of things, and I do this musically too, where I have like seeds or ideas or folders or like different aesthetics that I'm like, this is kind of where I'm vibing right now. And these are going to be the normal things that I pull from if I'm in a bind and just need to design quickly or like make things quickly. Do you do a similar thing with projects, or do you always start from scratch?
No, I try not to like just have like you're kind of hinting at like the bag of trends, which is pretty good. Like you can always recall on. Yeah. Because you can have it and you could say like, this is what I'm feeling, or this might be nice. I do try to like, at least what I'm trying to do, I guess, as I've grown older, is like really try to attach the style to the theme. So like this one is like about finding a king, and in the least of all places, really, you know, and so like that's pretty surreal. That's like taking something that doesn't really make sense and putting it together with something that makes sense. Like, why would a shepherd become king? So it's like we all kind of fell into this like surreal. Like when they started sending references, I was like, yeah, that's surrealism. So we're gonna go with that. Like everybody's feeling that. We're just gonna go with that. You know. So I try to attach it to the theme. Sometimes it doesn't work. A good fallback's always like vintage, like old lettering. Like that's always that's like a quick win for anything church related. But like I try to attach it to.
No, I think that's helpful, and I think I do the same. And I guess what I'm referring to is more like pre-existing ideas. But again, like that's just musically. So that might just be a part where it doesn't. Like I'll start with like for today. Like I had this little like loop Dan and I were testing out. Let's throw the headphones on. Let's use that king, shepherd king motif and see if we can get some feelings and vibes going on. But I'll start with the idea of something like this. But then like I can. Like and then I would like layer and then I would take the theme and begin to like write lyrics and take like Shepherd King and like work through lyrics and then I use building blocks from there. But how were you vibing with that? Like you're more of a lo-fi.
I liked it.
You like that? Okay. I don't know what tempo that was. 75. Yeah, damn. Let's get it down. Oh, damn. All right,
let's get it down. Write that down.
I'll give you 4.
All right.
And then
I'm gonna have to let it. I'm gonna try to trigger it right at the.
Let it play, and then we'll get the drums
separate. Yeah, 100%.
Here we go. And.
Yeah, I can actually tell you exactly. It is 140 is what I have it at right now.
So it's...
Ooh.
I like that.
Ooh.
Let's do 140. I got you.
I like the is that pre-programmed to go like weird?
It's a tape.
That's so nice.
So like
when
I
like
You want to?
Oh, that. Oh, why'd you stop it?
Let it roll. I'll take that out.
Nice.
Oh, you hear that transition? That was good. Nice. Do we want to go digital drums, or you're also a drummer? Should we? Let's lay down a little.
You can try, yeah.
A little some of this. Little rim action.
A little rim action.
Nice. Had to remember the chords. Also, if you are watching, drop any comments or questions that you have for Drew, creative projects, music, whatever you might be thinking about. Our hope is to make these little creative office hours where we can just kind of pop in and share tips and tricks and those sorts of things while we work on things. But
Can you come around? Can you do the other side?
let's
So we can
get you
see
right here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pop off camera just so I can see straight.
Pop off.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You got that? Nice.
Got it.
Loop.
Ooh.
I do need to play with more bells.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We'll come back to that. I think. Kind of poppy. I can't decide if I want to go more. The Shepherd King. The Shepherd King. Sorry, I got lost. I got lost in that
Got
for a
lost in
second.
the loop there.
In the moment.
What you got? You need more?
Ooh. We got Dan slicing and dicing back there. Can we get that? Just the key part, the keys part.
Ooh.
I've got.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I got you. Here, give me another
Yeah, yeah.
Give me another one.
Yeah.
Quick here. Hit you with it. And ready?
Mm-hmm. Oh, do I have 8 or 4?
You just pop in whenever you're ready. Nice.
Yeah, just
I was
loop
thinking,
that,
like-
and that's a vibe. Hmm.
Oh, shoot.
Dan, this was a good idea. Can you
Well,
give me
something like
guest cam real fast?
Yeah.
Just want to do a quick shout out to Dan running production and this idea because it was a great idea. So thanks, Dan.
I got you.
You don't get a lot of shout outs, you know. So I just want to
Let's give it up for
throw
Dan.
your flowers. I lost my audio.
Yeah, I was consolidating.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Perfect.
I guess
I'm going to do a little synth. If you want to, you want to do some bells
I can try.
or do you want to do keys?
For something else?
Or
Or
we
for
can
the
do
same
more
thing?
drums.
Are we going to do a different loop or we do the
No, same one.
Same loop?
Yeah, let's build on it. I think, so normally what I try to do is I'll get like usually a bar of 4 down or like some sort of loop and then try to come up with a B section. So we can do a B section next. And that usually gives some sort of writing frame that I can then work off later. So this is like what I refer to as like a seed of an idea. But a seed isn't a seed until it's actually completed and there's like a clear next step, right? So like if I have an A and B section, there's a clear next step to either enter writing mode or begin building song structure out more. So I have 2 kind of options depending on the mood I'm in. But that's why I do it that way. So if you're down, we can kind of expand a little bit and then think through a B idea. And then depending on time and what you got to do, we can think through even like lyrics or melodies and that kind of thing. Because you sing too. So we can,
I do.
depending on what you want to do on stream,
Yeah.
we can kind of think through different things.
Check. I'm good for about like 15.
All right, sick. Yeah, let's do it. Let's just
What was
let's try to
the-
get into a B section then,
Okay.
so that we can have a clear next step.
So that would be like B is in like a bridge.
Ooh. Sorry. Yeah.
My bad.
That was him dropping stuff. Ooh. Is that me? Dang. Have I entered my... Oh, you know what?
Yeah, I was gonna say you should do it on or because you could be able to find like a line thing.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, let's do that. Cool.
You want me to pop in?
Yeah, can you just play it and let me figure some stuff out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that. I think just should we do a little Dan guest appearance? No? All right, cool. Let me lay down just these chords then, if I can.
Oh.
Oh, my bad.
Nice.
That was nice, dude.
And I have an idea for a B section. Like if we
Let me
just
hear it.
went down to... no, I don't want to go 6 there.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
Classic worship.
And then back.
It's just a bridge.
Maybe like more staccato.
Okay. So like maybe like
which
one's
something.
better at keys?
You know what I mean? It's just something where there's like a
Yeah.
contrast between cut.
Yeah.
Ooh, and then a soft one. That would be nice. Soft. Ooh. There it is. Whoa.
Yazzie!
Into like that was so fun, dude. I wasn't ready. Did everybody hear that? Like everybody could. Oh my gosh. We're the best.
I can't hear a thing. There it goes. There's a slight like... I'm hearing it in this mic, so it's like...
You got it, though. That's sick. I like that. That lead line is nice.
Yeah. You know, that's my one pocket lead. ties that snare. Nothing a little quantization can't fix. Nice. I say we get the B section down, and then we'll let you get out of here. Cool. Can I get that down, Dan?
Yeah.
I'll just do like a soft version. I get 4, right?
Yep.
Nice.
Nice.
I liked it.
Well, those that joined, thanks, Drew, for coming out.
Of course, man.
And thanks, Dan,
Wanna let it play?
for let's let it play for a loop through, and then we'll let the people go for the day. Let's hear it. So this was the beat for today. Beans and Beats, December 12th, 2024. Join Flock. Sit back, sip my coffee. Have a seat, Drew.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Oh, the riser. It's really tough to do the drums and the ambient mic.
It kind of sounds nice. It's not really bad.
It's good.
It's just like a really fat snare.
Is this B right here?
Ooh.
You know, Keys era is like on the horizon. It's not quite there yet for me. I mean, this has worship bridge written all over it. All right, church. As we stand here and we think about what we've done here during Beans and Beats.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Or
Right?
Or,
That's that song, right?
greater things are yet to come.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
Greater things still to be done in this city. Feels good.
The tom as a bass is like wild. Like you can hit it with a compressor at the beginning and then let it go.
Little rap over this. Get to,
A little rap in the middle of it? Or a little spoken word.
I wish I could rap as well.
I love spoken word in the middle of it though.
Yeah.
Like
That
it
would be
has a
nice.
meter, but it doesn't have to necessarily like
Mhm.
rhyme. Like, you know,
I could hear that too. Cool. We got a couple things to build off
there's something
that.
there.
But yeah, thanks for joining us today, Beans and Beats. And those of you that are Christian creatives and want to kind of grow, I would love to work with you on your projects. Click the link below and also check out the other resources we have available for Christian creatives as we cultivate a life dedicated to Jesus and hopefully help you to curate a culture for the kingdom. So that's our goal here, and we'll see you next week. Maybe.
We'll see you.
Oh no!
We'll see you right now.
That's okay. I can just end the stream.
Which one is
I don't think it was
No,
working.
you press it.
Commercial.
Oh.
Oh, it's not working. Oh well. See you.
All right, bye,
Drew.
guys.
Later.